Article 8, Proclamation the Economic Independence of England and Britain. Our nation cannot be truly independent if it is not economically independent. This country will no longer be subordinated to any foreign power nor any foreign capital. People of Britain shall never ever be slaves. Our nation is a nation of proud people, owners, conquerors, explorers, engineers, scientists, physicians, mathematicians, and people of ideas and action. No native British workers, English, Scottish, Irish, Welsh, and others natives workers cannot be sacked by anyone to be replaced with any foreign workforce. This will be a grave violation of British, English, Scottish, Irish, Welsh, and other natives worker rights. All companies found guilty of these belligerent and malicious practices of profiteering and pilgrimaging the country, and moreover, found guilty of conspiring against vital native workers' rights, shall all be banished from the country, and all their assets can be found to be confiscated, and this would include and all of those who hired illegal and undocumented illegal aliens and others alike. Thus, if the value of the prejudice caused is higher than the assets confiscated and recovered, Britain shall follow and prosecute all those everywhere in the world and have no rest until they'll be brought to justice in front of the people, as this is the promise of its Majesty to deliver justice and prosperity for his people. All existing capital of any enterprises and businesses that operate within the national territory and dependencies shall be held in a minimal proportion of 50% into the hands of British and native peoples. Same as for every natural resource of the country: oil, coal, minerals, fishery, waters, forestry, and all the rest of natural resources. We shall never surrender and be a nation of employees on our land and to work for others who sell to everyone our prestige of Made in Britain or Made in England, Scotland, Ireland, Wales. Britain must produce its own energy, and the energy is a vital monopoly that must be in hands of people in a proportion of minimum 50%. Britain must be energy independent. The state and people must invest in new sources of energy, such as hydro energy, nuclear, and upgrade the grid to achieve a better integration of other sources such as wind, solar, and other. The oil and coal must be used and owned by the nation. All foreign interests around our oil, gas, and coal must be expropriated, and an Expropriation Act will be issued to anyone at His Majesty's pleasure. Six, the people and the state must have economic initiative and entrepreneurial initiative. We need a state able to produce its own economic means to sustain its apparatus versus a consumer state that is spending and overspending anyone else's money. Hence, the state must have exclusive monopolies on non-essential and auxiliary industries as gambling, road car insurance, packaging, recycling, foreign currency exchange. The country must be able to produce its own food and not be dependent on foreign food. The land cannot be bought by any foreign entity. The agricultural land cannot be expropriated, and all agricultural land that has been illegally occupied by any other activities other than agriculture must be expropriated by an Expropriation Act at His Majesty's pleasure. Water Act and water is a human right that this Constitution recognised as in virtue to the right to life. Water cannot be estranged to any other entity other than the British people. An Expropriation Act will be issued at His Majesty's pleasure. Fair trade is another promise of His Majesty to restore justice and trust and fairness in markets and trade. Monopoly practices and trust operations are condemned and deemed illegal by this Constitution. This would be considered as an act of aggression against economic independence of our country and will be punishable with an Expropriation Act, where all assets will be confiscated and banished from our markets.
The Expropriation Act, it is His Majesty Executive Order to carry all necessary efforts in recovering our national wealth that has been taken by political means of corruption, robbery at a mega industrial scale, and because of due magnitude that made to seem so legit business, when in reality they resold us back our resources that we have borrowed to them. They've used our satellites that we paid to put them out there in space, only to have inflated prices to telecommunications. We have borough or railways to have the most expensive tickets in Europe and the world in public transport, and the list will be so long to enumerate all the examples. The head of state has the mandate and the power to expropriation of all businesses and organisations which endeavours hold enemy actions against the English and British native population, countries' interests, national economic interests, and national security and economic independence. The promise of His Majesty. In this article I'm here in front of my people to defend my people's poverty, and it's little because the poverty of my people is non-negotiable. And shall I raise the sword of Christ against all those who stole from my people and punish them as never ever would raise again.
No compensation should be given to any expropriated business, because any expropriation should be carried out after a lawful process, where the level of damages to our economy, society and environment should cover the value of the prejudice, and if lesser, the responsibles should be prosecuted internally and externally if the case.